Coachella as a state of mind. Hey y'all, it's me, Bussarella, and welcome back to Hot or Hot. And today, we've got a lot to cover, including Roxxxy Andrews' latest statements on AS9's Crowning and the toxicity in the fan base, some apparent upcoming litigation from Drag Race icon and Drag Race France host Nicky Doll, the ongoing online feud between Miss Fiercalicious and Fil, and finally, episode 2 of Canada's Drag Race versus the World. So let's jump right in with the ongoing All-Stars 9 drama. So I want to reiterate my love and congratulations for Andrea, the winner of All-Stars 9. Of course, though, with any Drag Race crowning, there are always mumblings in the fan base about this queen was robbed, that queen was robbed, this queen should have won, that queen should have won. And at the end of the day, that is kind of to be expected when we have an All-Stars season with a cast that has as much talent as All-Stars 9 did. However, while it's okay to maybe be a little sad that your top pick for the win didn't ultimately get the crown, it's never okay to send hate to the winner. And as Kofi so eloquently said on Twitter regarding this situation, sometimes you just need to let people have their moments. And what I'm really loving seeing online is all of the continued love and support these queens are expressing for each other and their winner, Andrea, online. And in an Instagram post, Roxxxy wrote this: "Make your own destiny. I've lost so many more times than I have ever won. But when you lose, you learn so much more in every aspect. I'm so thankful for being on your TVs again. The best thing about it was the gift of my fans. I'd do it all again. Thank you, All-Stars 9. I'll never forget it. Love my girls so much, and congrats to the crowned queen, Andrea." And in a video shared by a user to the RuPaul's Drag Race subreddit, Roxxxy said this when the crowd was reacting a certain way to her loss.
"We don't do that. Listen, she didn't crown herself. They crowned her, okay? She did a great job. We were all there fighting for 8 amazing charities, and I could not be happier for the entire cast for all the money we raised for charity. Y'all make some noise for Andrea, the winner of season 9 of All-Stars."
So again, congrats to Andrea on her win, and really the entire cast for putting on an amazing season for charity. Next up, we've got Sports Ball and Nicky Doll apparently threatening litigation against a far-right conservative commentator of sorts, Laurence Fox. So for my sports lovers, you may be well aware that the Summer Olympics are ongoing in Paris, France right now, which I only really knew was happening because I saw a reel or TikTok of Tom Daley jumping all over his cardboard bed.
They're pretty sturdy.
But that's unrelated to the litigation situation, which came about this week when the opening ceremony for the Summer Olympics included an LGBTQIA+ segment, which was intended to showcase France's commitment to love, positivity, and acceptance for all peoples. And in this segment, we see people like Lady Gaga, Celine Dion, and a certain group of drag queens that you may recognize from the franchise, including Nicky Doll, who of course competed on the US seasons and is now a host of Drag Race France. And in an AP News article, we see Philippe give the comment about the event. "I thought it would be a 5-minute drag event with queer representation. I was amazed. It started with Lady Gaga, and then we had drag queens, a huge rave, and a fire in the sky. It felt like a crowning all over again. I'm proud to see my friends and queer people on the world stage." But apparently the celebration of love and inclusivity was a bit lost on the pearl-clutching conservatives of the world. In that same AP News article, we see a bit where they write, "There was a scene that seemed to evoke Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper, featuring the drag queens and other performers in a configuration reminiscent of Jesus Christ and his apostles. The segment drew significant attention and mixed reactions. But one pearl-clutching conservative in particular really got his panties in a twist, and that was Laurence Fox, a person whose name you probably recognize for his involvement in a lawsuit where Crystal from Drag Race UK sued him for libel a couple of years ago for calling her a PDF file. A lawsuit, by the way, which he lost and was ordered by the courts to pay the equivalent of like $220,000 in damages for. But it doesn't seem he's learned his lesson, and regarding the LGBTQ segment in this Olympics opening ceremony, he wrote, "No point in getting wound up when the child just want to wind you up. Just laugh at the deviant little pedos. Eternity is a bitch." Comments which were flagged by the community on X, writing, "There is no evidence that any of the people in the photograph are PDF files." And after he made this post, we saw Crystal post to her X profile, writing, "One man's baffling commitment to giving all his money to the legal system. At the Nicky Doll, need a lawyer?" To which Nicky responds, "Let's go." And Nicky later responded to Laurence's original post, writing, "Lawyer on the line, see you in court," which she she followed up with a post to her own profile writing, "Since you didn't learn the first time around when you called my friend Crystal a pedo, I'm going to show you that you don't get to write things like that about queer people for fun. See you in court again at Laurence Fox." And in a post made on Instagram by Matt XIV, we see a collection of the outrage and appall by online conservative personalities where they're just so upset that The Last Supper has apparently been mocked by drag queens, and we see Nicky Doll comment on this post writing, "Let them cry." And yeah, I mean, I'm with Nicky Doll. Let them cry. Like, it's, I don't know, like, just sad and funny. Like, this is all they have to talk about. Just like getting mad at like people trying to be happy and spread love and inclusivity. The sad little lives they live. Anyways, moving on to Canada's Drag Race Canada versus the World Series 2, in which we first have got to cover some online drama between Phil and Miss Fiercalicious, which was going on last week. But it all started with a post from Phil after Lacana's elimination, where Phil wrote, "In Untucked, I was the first to advocate to keep my babe, Kahana, as I thought she had way more to show. So that's why when Fierce says to give Kahana 2, I said, why does it sound so much more shadier coming from you?" And Miss Fiercalicious responds to this writing, "The way this never happened?" And Phil writes back, "Yes it did, but you don't listen." And then we have Fiercalicious tagging like the entire cast on this reply, saying, "Y'all remember this?" And to which even Kahana responds, "No shade, I don't." And in defense of this memory, we see Phil write, "Lemon asked all of us who we'd save, and I said Kahana has more to show. You literally see me follow up and ask you, why does it sound so shady when you say it like that?" To which Fierce says, "Okay, so we all have amnesia except for you. I waited the entire Untucked for someone to say save Kahana, but no one did. So that's why I did myself at the end. If you had brought it up first, I definitely would have pitched in." Where Phil writes back, "I have excellent memory, babes. I said what I said, but you loved the clout. We went round the sofa, hence you were last in commenting on it all. Roll the unaired and get my producer on here now." To which we see Fiercalicious then post a screenshot of a text message thread with Lemon, where she sent a link of Phil's ex post saying, crying laughing emoji. "Did that happen? LOL." And Lemon responds, "I don't remember that happening either, honestly." To which Lemon followed up on X, "In fairness, I have a terrible memory at IamLaPhil. We need to find the tapes at Canada's Drag Race." And so we leave this drama with a little bit of a he said, she said situation, but these two did get back into it regarding the drama from this week's episode, which we'll cover near the end of this segment, so stay tuned for that. So in this week's episode of Canada's Drag Race Canada versus the World Season 2, the queens were challenged to do some improv acting in a TV show called The Hole, a loose parody of The Mole and another show called The Traitors. And the runway category was Mother Nature. So first up, we've got Cheryl minus The Hole, who in the challenge plays the character archetype of the super fan. And as you'd expect, she plays this role very eager, excited, and energetic. She's The Hole's biggest fan and seems to have all the ins and outs of the competition figured out. She basically is Sasha Bell, who you'll remember cracked the code on Drag Race all the way back in season 7. And I thought her acting abilities were solid. I understood the character she was going for. And she was so committed to making good TV on this TV show parody that she even at the end chooses herself as The Hole. And while I would give her performance here a hot, I think it was just missing an element of laugh out loud funny. Because she was so good at playing this annoying character that it came off to me just more annoying than funny. And for her Mother Nature runway, she here is, I think, going for a Dune inspired reference. Because she talks about how in the first part of this look where she's draped in brown rags, that she's in the desert looking for water, then has a reveal that she is the Boom Boom Water. And conceptually, I actually really liked where she went with this. Like, I think the reference was clear and I enjoyed the camp of it. But really here the issue was just polish, because the first look was giving potato sack and the second look is just kind of giving high school prom. And the gown itself just really isn't flattering. It's kind of boxy and it's not cute. I'm gonna give this a. And next up, Phil, who in the challenge is playing the girl looking for love. And Phil plays this character with both undertones and overtones of desperation, but with these other layers that kind of confuse the character for me a bit. Because in the opening segment, when Phil's walking into the house as this desperate character, they add in this deep voice, which they correct to a more higher feminine voice. And then the general appearance of this character is very sloppy, messy, and disheveled. But Phil's face is absolutely beat and pretty, and so there's this odd disconnect between, I think, the character Phil had in their mind and what was actually being shown to us. And as the judges critique, it did get one note, because pretty much all Phil was saying through the whole thing was just like, I want Lemon, or I want Brad, I want Lemon, I want Brad. And instead of looking around and seeing that what they were saying wasn't funny, Phil just kind of kept doing the same thing over and over, and it wasn't successful. So I'm gonna give this a. And over on the runway, Fil says this look is Mother Earth on fire, and lets us know the look is actually made of recycled fabrics and materials meant to be commentary on sustainability and how things like fast fashion are bad for the environment. This is a great statement that I do love and appreciate, because honey, global warming is real and our world is burning. However, the way this look was executed, it's just very much giving can of trash on fire, especially when she turns around and she's got this giant silver, to me, what looks like a trash can lid with like dirty doo-doo rags falling out the back. Like, what is that? In the front is a little bit prettier, but the patterning on, I think what is supposed to be like armor scales or something, looks almost like giraffe print. And then we've got like heat miser wig going on up top. I don't know, it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in. So I'm gonna give this a. And next up, something sour. It's Lemon, who in the challenge plays the character archetype of the gay guy. And this performance from Lemon was so refreshing. Like, I don't think we've ever seen somebody truly capture this character archetype in an acting challenge in the way Lemon did. And Lemon was so committed to the bit at every turn, especially with like how every response, he has this like pompous, like laugh thing going on. And the way Lemon holds himself at every moment, just like absolutely giving that over dramatic, campy, eccentric gay character was perfect. Plus Lemon was just so quick with the improv, like especially at the end when everyone's voting on who the hole is, and he just sort of off the cuff is going off about how Cheryl's being a homophobe. And you can even see the other queens in the room breaking character and laughing at Lemon. He was doing so good. This performance was and over the runway, Lemon's giving us a little purple kush goddess. Oh, purr. If it ain't purple, I'm not interested. And this look is very different from Lemon. There is not even a hint of yellow in this gown up or down, but she still is literally stoned from head to feet. And I'm gonna say this is a really gorgeous look from Lemon, and I love the unexpected nature of it. She's giving that maternal, ethereal energy that I think resonates with the Mother Nature brief, and I just think she looks absolutely beautiful. So I'm gonna give this look a. And next up, Miss Fabulicious, Fiercalicious, who starts off this episode just absolutely on a tear, continuing off from the drama from last week's episode. She talks about how the Americans have been in these drag race seasons 3 or 4 times and they don't deserve any more chances, and is also calling Eureka out for doing a high kick during a ballad in last week's lip sync. And then we finally have Tynomi come in to try and reel Fierce in, basically calling Fierce a little brat. And like, yeah, whether she is being a little bratty brat or not, like, I am absolutely loving the TV drama that she's bringing to this season. In the challenge, she plays the character of the petty bitch, which is a role that I think she chose because she resonates with it on like a deep personal level. But we've got all this setup coming from lots of different people in the room, like Lemon and Tynomi and Confessionals, talking about how Miss Fierce is not leaving her comfort zone. And that is also a critique that we hear from the judges later, and they seem to be pretty upset Fierce chose a role that basically was just her playing herself. But personally, I didn't really care that she chose the petty bitch role. Like, it's kind of what I expected from her. And I thought she was hilarious because it's Fierce doing what Fierce does best. And like, that's what I want, is just more Fierce being Fierce. As for some examples of why I thought she was good, I think she did turn up the petty bitch attitude even more than she normally has in her day-to-day drag race life. She was leaning into that vocal fry and had so much fun going back and forth with Lisa Rinna. Because in the first instance, when Lisa sat down with the 4 queens, she stands up and is like, "Oh, it's so great to meet you all." And Fierce goes, "Was it?" And then later when Lisa's having the back and forth about the latex or fake leather gloves with Eureka, Fierce is just like, "Yeah, well, you don't seem real either." And it was that fun, catty back and forth energy between her and Lisa that I think I really enjoyed most in this challenge. So I'm gonna give this performance a. And over on the runway, she says she's giving goddess energy as Mother Africa. It talks about how this look is basically a love letter to her younger self and finding pride in her blackness. And all of that comes through so well. Like, this look is so beautiful and clearly honors Mother Earth as a concept, but then also the country of Africa being the birthplace of us Homo sapiens. And I mean, she's pregnant, so like, she literally is mother. You want kids? Fierce's mother. This look is hot. And next we got Alexis Mateo, who plays the character of the total Karen. And Alexis here seems to accept this role more out of the interest of peacekeeping and getting through this challenge than being actually interested in it. She even admits she doesn't really know what a total Karen is, but I do think she does an okay job of like putting the pieces together of how this character should behave in a setting like this. She references PTA meetings and in general gives that uptight, bitchy attitude. And I think her commitment to the bit was pretty good. I just didn't have tons of laugh out loud moments with her, but I would give this a safe hot. Over the runway, she says she's giving us a Gaga McQueen era inspired look. They're seeming to reference the all gold McQueen look Gaga wore in the Bad Romance video, which we can see style cues from in Alexis's look with those giant platforms and the crystallized bodysuit she's wearing. And I love this old school Gaga reference combined with the very clear nature references in this look, with half of it meant to evoke ocean and the other half meant to say forest. And I really love how the leaves and flowers are up in the hair and on the shoulder, but there are some elements that are just like a little too literal for me, like the sequined fish on a leg and the tree branches maybe being a bit clunky on the forest side, but it's also kind of camp because of those details. And overall, I do like this look. I'm gonna give it a hot. And next up, Eureka, you found it. Who in the challenge plays the soap opera star? Eureka had a really strong opening. This challenge immediately busting through the whole mansion doors and doing this fake bit about a dead dad. Then following all the drama up with a, oh, guess I'm on the wrong set. Clearly meant to evoke that I'm the best actress in the room and I'm gonna prove my talents to everybody watching type of energy, which was very successful. And I think she also had some great confessional moments and back and forth with other queens. It was just that as the challenge progressed, she seemed to say less interesting things and took more of a back seat to some of the other more exciting and interesting characters. But I would give this a hot. Over on the runway, Eureka's giving us a little like fantasy woodlands Mother Nature interpretation. Like this is literally the tree growing in the deciduous forest from head to toe. And I love how she's incorporated like different levels of forest canopy in her look. On the floor, you can see the mushrooms growing up from the earth and the tree branches started to come in with those different type of mushrooms. And then up top, we've got leaves and butterflies. This was such a thoughtful and like real interpretation of a forest look. And I really appreciated the drag of it all. This is absolutely hot. And next up, Kitty Davenport playing the role of the know-it-all. And oh my God. Y'all, firstly, let's recognize that this type of challenge is Kennedy's bread and butter. She's so good at improv. Like she did win the All Stars 3 Improv Bachelor Challenge and then on her original season 1 Snatch Game. And from the second she walks into the whole house, she is just cutting up and acting so unhinged that I was like, oh, she's gonna win with this. This is insanity. It's perfect. Like she's wearing the black stockings and white heels, which if you remember is something that was a bit of a meme from I think one of her pit stop episodes.
Black stockings, white shoes, shouldn't be allowed in the church.
And her makeup is a mess. The wig is crazy. And there's so many fun details in this character, like when she's talking to Lisa in the first segment, she pulls a note out of her wig and then proceeds to write down information about like where Lisa was this past weekend or what she did or didn't have for breakfast. And then in the confessionals, when she is like resting her arms on her chest like this, she is a mastermind of comedy and absolutely slayed this challenge. This was totally hot. And over on the runway, oh my God, I am obsessed with Kennedy Davenport. This tree look is insanely beautiful. Like if Eureka was realness tree, like actual scientific interpretation, then Kennedy's tree look here is the high glam pageant version of that realness tree. And the amount of sequining and stoning in this look is just breathtakingly gorgeous. It glitters from every single angle. And I love those structured ruffles in the bottom part of this gown and how like when she's walking back, has the multicolored flower petals on the tree branches dangling from her arms. And then the crazy wig with the wiring and the braids, just absolutely perfect. This look is totally hot. And finally, we've got Tynomi Banks, who's playing the character of the Kooky Clairvoyant. And unfortunately for Tynomi, she just didn't have a good vision for this character. Because instead of her having any psychic predictions at all, she just kind of says that she's clairvoyant or says she knows what someone's going to say next. Which, because this is an improv challenge, is a total cop-out. She's giving a yes answer without providing the and this and that, which could have led to some funny moments. And I don't know if she's seen That's So Raven, but I thought that would have been a really smart psychic character to tap into, having visions like every couple of minutes and seeing crazy things about her fellow cast members. Just a thought of what could have been. As was presented, I'm looking in my crystal ball and see a but over on the runway, things don't really get any clearer for her. She's going for like mother of ocean, maybe female Poseidon queen type of character. And we can see that with her trident and fishing net and the way her gown is meant to evoke ocean blue going into the white caps of the waves. But my issue is there's not a lot of realness in the presentation of this Poseidon character happening on the runway. It's giving like I just picked up the Spirit Halloween trident prop and painted it blue, and the net I'm carrying, which was supposed to have been in the ocean, is completely pristine white and clean. Like, why? Because we see that same thing happening with the fabric of her gown, which is like torn in places, meant to be weather worn, but is again completely pristine clean. It just didn't make any sense from a storyline perspective, but I will say her mug and hair, absolutely top notch, perfect. She looks absolutely gorgeous in here. So there's that, but the look is a rot. Before we jump into the drama from this episode, I want to remind y'all that my channel truly would not be possible without my Patreon family support at patreon.com/BussyQueen. Seriously though, I really am only able to make content as a full-time job because of the financial support I get on Patreon every single month in the form of monthly pledges. And in return for those monthly pledges, my Patreon family members get exclusive benefits, like access to reactions of every Drag Race episode that I review, and Busted Out Podcast episodes where I talk about pop culture, plus early access to my YouTube videos. And you too can support my channel by clicking the link in the description of this video and joining my Patreon today. Just a couple dollars truly does go a long way, and I can't wait to see you there. Click the link. Our top two this week are Kennedy and Lemon, with the ultimate win going to Kennedy Davenport, which was absolutely deserved so many times over. And our bottom three turn out to be Phil, Tynomi Banks, and Fierce. And the only person that really surprised me there was Fierce. And it kind of felt like the producers just needed a bottom three, so they crafted the storyline of her being bad to put her in there for drama. I don't know, just what I thought. But whether real or manufactured, the drama absolutely comes in when we're having to see Kennedy decide who to give the Golden Beaver to. Because Phil here is seemingly having a case of the Eurekas, where he heard critiques that were much better than they actually were, and where Phil also expresses feeling misunderstood about their runway presentation. And we see this moment where Phil is basically saying like, y'all are giving drag with a capital D, and I'm kind of trying to give more conceptual artists and I'm being misunderstood. But I do feel Phil was kind of missing the point of what the judges were saying here. Because as Kennedy Davenport points out, Phil absolutely is giving drag with a capital D in this look. It's just that it didn't have the same level of polish or finesse as some of the other queens on the stage. And I also found it kind of funny how it seemed Phil was acting like the misunderstood victim in this situation and was wanting sympathy from the queens in the room, but then doesn't have that same sympathy or feeling for queens like Cheryl when she expresses a similar sentiment. Because Cheryl too is like, oh, they didn't get me, like I was giving desert and water. And then in a confessional, Phil is like, Cheryl, you're basically wearing a sloppy. But the situation did continue online when Fiercalicious posted this on her ex profile. My poor sibling Phil really thought, and still probably thinks to this day, that they had the best critiques this episode. Bless their soul. And Phil responds, did I say I had the best? Nope. They said you had the best runway, but didn't try in the challenge. That you are just a petty bitch. Crying, laughing emoji. Whereas they thought I did try in the challenge and had lots of different moments. Plus, Lisa loved my outfit and said she'd wear mine. Where Fierce then replied, I'm going to have to link you to a good hearing aid. Here's what I found on Amazon, which I'm sure could bless you because you seem to have been struggling the past few weeks. Anyways, I'm gonna sit here pretty with my beaver. And attached was a photo of some hearing aids, to which Phil responds, too true. I could have done with them to turn down the volume of you. Oh, I missed Fierce. Anyways, after hearing the queens plead their case, Kennedy gives the Golden Beaver to Miss Fiercalicious, which means we got Tynomi Banks and Phil lip syncing to a very high energy dance track called Let Me Think About It. And the crazy thing about this song being a lip sync track is that there really are not a lot of lyrics. It's a dance track. And there's like a chorus that comes in here and there, but it is meant to focus on the physicality of what the queens are presenting. And these two queens approached it very differently. Phil was giving cyborg C-3PO kid in a candy shop that's eating too much candy and sugar. It was frantic, it was energetic, and it was giving wild and crazy. But Tynomi, on the other hand, was giving us pop diva. And I thought Tynomi gave a cleaner, clearer lip sync that felt more appropriate. And so I thought the judges made the right decision when they give her the Shantae You Stay. And now for my final thoughts. So I think this challenge was really well executed, both in part of setting it up on the producer's side, but also in terms of how the queens acted and played off of each other. Plus, Lisa Rinna being there as a little wild card, I thought was really smart. But I'll also say this episode made me kind of mad because it made me wonder why in the hell World of Wonder has not been producing other styles of reality TV show competition for our queens to participate in. Like in a grander sense, we need Big Brother with drag queens. We need this, we need the mole with drag queens, like whatever. I will take whatever I can get. Like literally imagine locking this cast up in a house for 12 weeks. I mean, gold. TV gold, and they're missing out. We're missing out. They're missing out, and we're missing out. World of Wonder, get on it. And finally, let's talk hottest hots. In the challenge, I'm gonna give it to Kennedy Davenport, and on the runway, I'm gonna give it to Kennedy Davenport. And I also asked my patrons to vote on their hottest hots, and this week they've chosen Cheryl in the challenge and Miss Fiercalicious on the runway. And finally, I wanna give an extra special shout out to Juan Ortiz Calpano, Callie Amity, Scarlett Knowles, Levi Romero, Henry Morris, and Parvesh Chena, who've all joined my Patreon at the hot and hottest hot tiers. And Ashton, Felicia, Laura, Matthew Burns, and Will and Tana, who are all supporting me at my Bussy Queen Collector tier at patreon.com. See you later. Love ya. Bye.